Does it feel less stressful generally now you're independent? Nothing feels different because nothing changed. I can't say it enough. When I joined the group, nothing operationally for me really changed other than I got an additional manager to meet with weekly. He was very helpful. That's it. And even then, like, I still had a manager at the time. Now I have like an assistant. I always had my own staff on the back end that handled like a lot of my stuff. So going from indie to corpo and then back to indie, like I just, there really wasn't, like nothing feels different to me other than like, I miss the specialness of being in a group like brand wise, right? Being brand associated with your own friends and then getting like a lot of opportunity to do group. Like a company could contact us to do group thing, like the Nikkei thing, for example, right? Now they could still contact one of us and be like, could you get like a group of friends together? I'd love to do this as a group. And then we would probably ask a lot of each other. But I think now what people are going to be doing is just asking just their friends and not like focusing it on the group, which I think is very fair and very fine. I don't think that's a bad thing. This is my preference. I prefer having a like business like layer of this is the group on top and then like the group does together. Whether we're friends or not, I like it in a coworker-y way, like just from a work perspective. You know what I mean? That's just me though. Some people would rather just do with just whoever they're like momentarily closest with or whoever they're just in general close with, which I think is also fine. I just personally feel like I have a lot of close friends that don't really like to work. No offense to them. I have a lot of friends that just I love doing with, but they are not good to work with in a work kind of way. So they wouldn't be my first choice do a lot of things with because they're bad at like certain types of work. That doesn't mean that I dislike them and they're like my friends and I love them, you know? Like yeah, school project vibe. Exactly. Like you want a group of people that are, every time you do a school project, there are like one or two people that actually do work. And then there's some people that don't. Some people don't really do much work, but they still contribute something. There's still value in having those people. I want those people in a group. That's great. People with their different strengths. Some people could do it, but just don't, especially in the streaming world. There are a lot of people that just like are genuinely not good at a lot of the standard work part of all of this, which is why if Nikkei approached me as like, hey, get a group of people to do this thing together, I'm not just gonna pick like my friends. I'm gonna pick the people that I feel like are good workers and my friends. You know what I mean? But that's just me. So that's why I like the like official branded group kind of thing, because then you also hold each other accountable for a lot of stuff too. There's like an accountability blood pact, you know? But yeah, so that's kind of what like I miss about being in the formal group. And then having staff that's shared between the group is like there's a lot of accountability sharing. And when you're doing stuff as an independent person and you're just like getting these random groups of people together for different projects, it's fun because you get to do shit with like all different friends, but it's really hard to rally them and get done every time, which is kind of why like nothing gets done a lot of the time, you know? Even in a corpo format, nothing gets done sometimes because of just the way people operate, but it's less than, you know, when it's just groups of friends, you know? You like doing the back end stuff in a group project, but you hate being the main presenter / speaker. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everyone has their stuff that they can contribute in a group format, and some people just kind of don't. They have it, but they don't do it, right? Because they don't like to work. And this is like, again, no offense to people, but a lot of streamers are just like, I feel like they haven't worked a day in their life in a real job. And even if you have worked, it doesn't mean you were like a really gung-ho worker, a go-getter, a whatever, you know, not an autonomous worker, which you kind of like need to be when you're a streamer and trying to execute projects on top of just like streaming. It's tough. And there's only just so much staff can do. At the end of the day, you're the streamer, you're the content creator. So there are things that you will have to do, questions you have to answer, decisions you have to make, papers you have to sign, you know, whatever it is. Like there is some stuff that will always fall on you and no amount of hiring other people can fix that. So that's like, it just makes it hard. It makes it hard to work with some people. So that for me, like people always ask, they're like, why'd you even join anyway if you're on your own team or whatever? It's because I liked that. There's this like accountability layer when you have an official group together. And I like that. It's a bunch of friends coming together and deciding, let's work together, not just let's be friends together. Let's make some funny content together. Let's work together. And I like that personally. That's the big difference. Everything else is the same. But yeah, I do kind of miss that. And it makes me like want to form something, but I also really don't. People keep being like, oh, you should formulate your own like group, but then I'd have to step back and I'd have to just straight up like not stream much anymore, not game much. I'd have to just spend all my time doing administrative shit. That was the whole point of joining an existing corpo, was like, I want this, but I don't want to put that time into all that. I did still do a bunch of stuff on the back end here and there, but like I didn't have to put that much time into that stuff, you know? So I do want to make my own company to do like certain bits of services and stuff for people, like a couple basic things that won't take a lot of time, because there are a couple of things that you just need a company for. So I'd like to help people out with that. But I don't want to like make a group and do all the operations for a group. It's just, not unless I could hire in a bunch of staff that want to do it. And it's just so much. It's so much. It's like kind of sort of not worth, you know? Nice little umbrella corp to keep the VTubers from putting their whole last names into PayPal. Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to have something where people could sign with me, and then like I/an employee or whatever can like, or my lawyer can sign papers for them, so no one has to put their names on anymore. You know, like that's something that I really want to do for others, because, you know, if I have a company and some friends will sign with it, literally just so I can sign papers for them, I'm putting myself on the line. I'm putting my own reputation, my own career on the line, because I'm a front-facing person. I'm a streamer, right? But when you sign with the company and it's just owned by like corpo suits, these people can like fade out into the background pretty easily. You know, like it's not that big of a deal if things don't work out for them, but it's a much bigger deal if it doesn't work out for me and I f up, right? So I feel like there's more comfort in people signing with a company that's like streamer owned, you know, because someone's sticking their neck out for it, and there's like accountability both ways in a nice way. So yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to do. I think when I tweeted and I was like, maybe I should start my own company, I think a lot of people thought I was talking about a VTuber corpo. I'd rather cut my own tongue off and burn my eyes than make a VTuber corpo. Is Mythic similar? Mythic is not a VTuber corpo. Here's the three distinctions. There are three distinctions. Okay, things that could exist. They could all exist in one company. Think of these like a little checkbox, like 1, 2, 3, or 2 of them, or all of the above, or whatever, right? Number 1, there are companies that are agencies, talent agencies. And what those do, you sign with them, they are your agent, and they just go around and find deals with you, for you. So a lot of streamers are signed to these. This is like, Mythic is one of these. This is like, loaded.gg. This is like, even companies like 100 Thieves and stuff do this. UTA, WME. What they do is you sign with them. They don't give you a manager to sit there and manage your everything, your brand. You're still basically, you're independent with everything you do. But you have one contact, a representative in the company who acts as your agent, and they go around and they're like, let's find you some sponsors. So they go email, you know, Capcom, and they're like, I heard your new Star Force collection is coming out, and I have this creator. They usually have a list. They're like, here's my roster of creators that I have. Here's 8 of them or whatever. Would you be interested in sponsoring any of them, right? Or they have existing relations with these people ongoing usually, and they just like, it's channel sales, if you know what that is, basically. They like get these deals generated, and then you're like, thank you for getting this deal for me, for doing all the communication. I will give you a % of the fee that I'm getting paid for doing it. Yay. Boom. Those relationships, those talent agencies are really good when the model is like that, because they only get paid if they get you paid, right? So the only way they make money off of you is if they make you money. Hooray, positively incentivized, it's all good. So agencies, a talent agency, good. I would say if you're signed with an agency, you're still an independent creator, because everything else you're doing is independent, literally everything about your brand. Now, some of those agencies also offer talent management, which is management. If they assign you a manager, or you pick one or whatever, and this person gets a little more into your day-to-day. But manager usually just means a glorified assistant. You're still the director of things that you're doing. Some companies, that manager, you can ask them to do more or less or whatever. It's a spectrum. It's whatever you ask them to do. Some companies, that management will be like, they actually sit there and talk about strategy with you. They talk about your content, help you come up with ideas for things. They go get your editing team together, and they communicate between you and your editing team, especially when you're live, and they're like elbow deep in everything, right? Like helping you day to day. Some managers are like, you just meet them once a week, and they're like, hey, what do you have ongoing? What do you need me to do? And you're like, hey, how's the merch going? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm talking to this third party company for you. Here's the update. Here's some questions to answer. You answer them, and they're like, okay, I'll take these back to them. And they just do like a weekly stand up with you. That's what most managers do for talent management. It's like that weekly stand up kind of vibe, with the occasional DM midweek to figure out what the is going on with something when they need a quick answer. So the talent management companies tend to give you like assistants, and they call them managers, but they're managers under you, managing your projects for you, with you, not managing you. And a lot of people say my manager, and people think the manager is like above them or is like a big decision maker, but typically a manager is under you. Like you're the director, they're the manager, right? You're up here, they're one level below, if that makes sense, and they're an extension of you. That's what a manager like is in talent management. But I think because of like VTuber corpo managers having more control of stuff, sometimes it makes people think differently. but talent management is usually not that. They're under you, right? And then the third thing is then you get the full VTuber corpo vibe, and this is control of brand. And this depends on which one you sign with and what their contract looks like and how much of this they actually do. But this is when you're in something, like Hollow or I don't know, Phase, like any of these, where they have a solidified brand and identity and existence, and you're fitting into it, and they're managing how you fit into it. Some of them still let you do a lot of your own kind of Some of them you've really got to get with the program and do what they want you to do. It just depends. And in some ways it's both for most companies. Just depends on where what happens. But that's the third distinction. So VTuber corpos tend to do all three, right? They control your brand and the group brand a bit and your strategy and everything. And then they also, and when I say control, I don't mean like fully. They usually still take a lot of what you want into account. They're just like making sure it fits with the group's vision, But they have that plus just general talent management on your individual basis, plus they're an agency for you, right? And then Mythic is just an agency, and some people tap them for the management part, but from what I understand, they've got like 1 billion people on their roster, and some managers, I don't think they would have the time to like to be like a big like part of your life kind of manager, unless maybe the bigger creators do. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's the breakdown. I hope that helps make that make sense. But so for me, I think being a part of an agency is good. Creating an agency just for the sponsorship still pretty good, because people just want someone to do communication for them like on a weekly basis, and again, those people only get paid if you get paid. So if you have an agency handle like your merch with you, a lot of the time they actually don't, but they might take like a small cut of like whatever your profits are from your merch in exchange for doing all of the communication between you and a merch company, right? That makes a lot of sense, and that's fine to give up like a piece of that for that. They save you a lot of time. So I'm a fan of anyone signing, like any streamer signing to anything where people get paid if they help the streamer get paid, because then it's just this like I said, positive incentivization loop over and over between everyone, and that really fosters good things, and that's good. The stuff beyond that, I feel like that just depends on the person. The management part can be really helpful. Again, like I said, I have my own team that help me with that stuff. So I do think there's value in hiring people to like do some of your work for you, so you don't have to spend all of your time doing it yourself. But I don't see the point in hiring someone to help you with like extensive strategy or to like heavily manage you in a way where like they're making decisions for you. That stuff, I feel like that either doesn't happen, or sometimes it does happen and those people are not like, it's not worth it. I don't know. Maybe it is for some. It depends on the person. Some people, I think also, some people are like really good on camera, really good on stream, but they're awful for back end work and for strategy. They just genuinely don't know how any of this works. But if you give them a little bit of a direction, a little bit of guidance, they perform very well. So those people do better with a little more of a manager that is heavily into like kind of telling them what to do, like giving them guidance on things. Some people do need that. And I find that's when, there are like situations where there's a diamond in the rough, right? Where somebody is like a small streamer and they stay small. They don't really grow much. And then they get picked up by a company and the company offers some of this guidance to them and suddenly they're doing a lot better. It's partially because being parts of certain companies, you definitely get a huge boost, but it's also like the thing that person was missing was that path and that guidance sometimes. Like they know how to execute a plan, but they're not the plan maker, if that makes sense. Sometimes they don't even know how to execute it. They need the script, like they need heavy guidance, but once set on that, they can do the thing, So there are people who need that shit. I think most like really big creators don't though, if I'm being honest. So all this talk about like talent management and like VTubers joining corpos, all that shit, not really necessary. I think most people just need an agency to like spoon feed them some sponsors and they're chilling. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. A lot of VTubers like consider the whole corpo thing, and I'm like, I think you just want a group of friends to play games with. You don't need to join a company for that. I don't know. The whole VTuber community makes you feel like you need a company for it or something, but you really don't.